Hello and welcome to the Hot Dog and a Handshake Pro Wrestling Show Classic Review. Do not adjust your sets. I am Shane Price, being hosted by my co-host for the week, Jayden Genswider.
Yep.
How you feeling about this?
I think this is a good show we picked here.
It is a very good show.
Excited to get into it.
Great show, even maybe one of the best of all time. Because depending on some people, this is the 2018 Dominion in Osaka-jo Hall, being held in Osaka-jo Hall. 11,832 people were here in June 9th of 2018. This is kind of one of the last big events for New Japan before AEW starts up, as I think this is the last time we see Okada and Omega.
Yeah,
But that's in the main event.
This is the last Okada Omega,
For now,
of course.
fingers crossed.
Yep. English commentary was done by Kevin Kelly and Don Callis. Always mention that up top. And I think ready to get into the show.
Yes, we're going to start with the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team title match. Suzuki-gun were the champions walking into this against Roppongi 3K, which was Sho and Yo. Sho now in the House of Torture, Yo in Chaos. Also, Kanemaru also in the House of Torture now.
Yep.
So very strange.
And Desperado just kind of doing his own thing. Just one
Desperado.
of the best of Super Juniors.
One of the best Super Juniors, just had his own production show. Both were very fun. So this was a pretty good opener, pretty exciting 10-minute match to start off with. Suzuki-gun retain.
Mm-hmm.
But Roppongi 3K, I think, had it before, but they're kind of building towards them kind of breaking up in a few years. At this point, it's coming. You can kind of tell by this point.
I thought, just a few notes I had, the way Despy was wearing the belt around his neck, kind of with the strap in front, was really cool.
That's how I did it with my wrestling figures as a kid. So I'm like, when I went back, I was like, oh, hey, I like El Despy.
Yeah. At the very beginning of the match, Despy goes for a belt shot, and Roppongi 3K hit stereo drop kicks and planchas. And I just thought that was a really great way to set the tone for who both these teams are.
Roppongi 3K was so much fun.
Yeah, just like an electric, high-flying team from Roppongi 3K, and then Suzuki-gun are just like kind of the
beat the crap out of you heels.
Yeah, brawling, cheating heels, yep. Overall, Roppongi 3K just had great double-team offense the whole match.
They really always did. That was one of their very big strengths, was that. Suzuki-gun, again, any combination of Suzuki-gun is always going to be a fun brawl.
Any team that uses a bottle of whiskey as a weapon, it has me intrigued.
Of course,
I'm locked in.
Of course.
Yeah. So I know I gave the match 3 stars. I just wish it was longer. That was my main criticism.
I agree. It felt like it was kind of cut off at the end. I gave it 3 as well. Meltzer gave it 3 1/4, and a Cage Match gave it 5.8.
Don Callis, by the way, was great on commentary all night. Not just saying funny things, but like actually breaking down the matches as they happen. He was doing really, really good.
We watched Heatwave 99 on our previous iteration of the show, and he was on commentary for that too during the Big Dudley promo. And it's almost kind of incredible how it's the same person, because during that he was in character the whole time. He was just being a total...
Yeah, it's totally different when he's in character, like what he does on AEW now. But like him with the main role of being a commentator was really good.
Underrated, really.
And one of the funny things he said was after this match, he said he's reading tweets from fans saying Rocky Romero is the worst manager in wrestling and that he's the kimchi of New Japan. Great.
Just a what a reference.
Yeah.
A random kimchi reference in New Japan.
Kimchi was the manager of Kamala, correct?
Yeah,
in the WWE.
I think the handler of Kamala.
The handler,
they
quote unquote, of Kamala. So yeah. So I do have a couple more Don Callis lines written down throughout this because
I'm so glad about that too.
Don Callis he was incredible all night.
Sensational all night. Then we get to a random tag team match just to have these guys on the card. Finn Juice, David Finlay of now the War Dogs, Juice Robinson, now a actual dog in AEW.
Bullet Club Gold. I think they Bullet Club Gold said that he is 1/4 of the AEW Trios champions.
Yeah, which free road rule, I guess.
Yeah.
Then we get and then they take on Chaos, Jay White and Yoshihashi. This is a very young Jay White.
Jay White
This
also now Bullet Club Gold.
Yeah, so I guess we can have a count of...
Question: do you think this is when Juice and Jay fell in love? Was this their meet cute?
You know what? The fire in their eyes has never gone off from this night. I remember liking this match more than when I first saw it than I did rewatching it.
Mm-hmm. See, that's an interesting perspective that you have because there is no rewatching it for me.
Yeah.
This is still a year before I will watch like any full show from New Japan. So this was my first time watching it, and I wasn't crazy into it. Yoshihashi, now Bishamon, are they part of a faction? Are they in Chaos? Okay, so he's still in Chaos. So yeah, I said, man, Jay White looks a lot better with facial hair.
No, he so does.
I noticed during this match that Yota Tsuji was one of the Young Lions.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite parts of going back and rewatching old New Japan shows is that you'll see a Young Lion recognize. Like when Jay White came back, because he was so like spottable on the outside, like
because he was a
pasty,
New Zealand,
pasty New
Kiwi,
Zealander, pasty New Zealander just out there, that bad haircut. And to see it come back, I've seen him like in person and as a Young Lion. That's really cool. This is the kind of same thing. Yosuji back there as a Young Lion. I think he debuts in like a year.
I think he was the only one I recognized all night. There's probably more that I've known, but like
I'll have to go back. I think maybe Yoda.
Sometimes what happens is like you know them with like their gimmick personality, and then seeing them like all wearing the same thing with like a buzz cut, it's just like who's who.
I think Yuya Uemura is around the same time as that too, so I think he's there as well.
Right, timeline wise, yeah.
Maybe even Shota, but
age wise,
maybe not Shota.
Mm-hmm.
It's a solid match. Finn Juice beat Chaos.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it 2 and 3/4.
I also gave it 2 3/4. It was fun. Juice Robinson celebrating with Jay White's IWGP US title after the match. Very goofball. Juice Robinson.
Very Juice Robinson. We haven't seen it forever.
We have though.
I mean, goofball, but
he's been goofballing it just in a more malicious way.
Keep in mind, he is part dog in AEW. We haven't seen the goofy dreadhead Juice Robinson.
We haven't seen like the dreadhead thing, but Juice Robinson has stayed goofy.
He's an underrated goofy guy.
And honestly,
he's a goofy
Juice,
guy.
If you hear this, always stay goofy.
Yes,
that's what we need.
I agree.
And then the best commentary line of the night was Don Callis insinuating that Kevin Kelly has a tramp stamp after this match.
Don Callis just did not like Kevin Kelly on commentary. It was, and you know what? He had a point.
I mean, apparently not as much as Ian Riccaboni didn't like Kevin Kelly if you've been reading the tea leaves, but that's a story for another day.
So that was okay. I didn't see a Meltzer rating on it.
Yeah, I haven't been checking the Meltzer ratings with these anymore.
Cage match gave it a 5.7, so it's whatever. Then we get to the next match. This match was a definite improvement in almost the same amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Suzuki-gun is back. Minoru Suzuki and Zack Sabre Jr. What a tag team.
Kaze ni Nare.
What a tag team.
Yeah, awesome.
To take on Tomohiro Ishii and Toru Yano. Again, what a tag team.
And Minoru Suzuki and Zack Sabre Jr. were the Rev Pro tag champs at this point, and Ishii was the Rev Pro heavyweight champion.
This is knee deep in that Rev Pro era.
Mm-hmm.
This is not for the titles. Mm-hmm. Suzuki would have retained either way. They defeated Chaos in about 8 minutes 40 seconds.
Yep. ZSJ made Yano tap out, and then Ishii and Suzuki brawled for 45 minutes. How long did that go? They just kept fighting.
Well, are you going to break them up? Are you going to be? Are you going to be the poor guy who breaks them up?
I'm not going to get anywhere near. I mean, they call Suzuki the murder grandpa.
And have you seen Ishii's neck?
Yeah.
It is not there.
No, I haven't seen it because it's not there.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I give it 3 stars.
I liked that. I gave it 3.5. It was a definite improvement to me. Cage match gave it a 6.9, and Meltzer gave it 3 3/4.
Okay.
Speaking of 3 3/4, this match got that from Meltzer as well. This is for the never openweight title. It is another big match. Hiroki Goto fumbled. Hiroki Goto and Taichi and Michael Elgin are in the match.
Yes, of course, we have to acknowledge Michael Elgin, not
being
a good
total
guy.
Weirdo.
Of course, when we go back and do these classic reviews, things like that happen. We find out things about wrestlers later. who pop up on these shows. We have to acknowledge it that, of course, you know, we will probably speak highly of them it, based on their art form, not based on who they are. Of course, we don't agree with any of that, but it's kind of part of wrestling history that you have to go back and look at sometimes. So, it's not wrestling history isn't all Roppongi 3K.
It's not all our Punky 3K. Sometimes it's Michael Elgin's. He was really over in this match.
He was.
He was
honestly,
super over in Japan.
he was good. This is the third show we've done that he's been on, and he's kind of balled out every time.
Think if he wasn't a total weirdo,
Yeah,
where would he be in like your top 50, 100, something like that?
maybe.
I feel like
he'd be
just
high.
in terms of the ring work that he did.
You know where he'd be? Right? He'd be saying, "I quit" to Cody Rhodes at Clash of the Castle. Where he'd be.
I can see that. He gives me that vibes of like a buff AJ Styles did. His thing is he's a powerhouse, and his height is it works in Japan. It's like a John Gresham type thing in America, but this match is pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was.
I liked it.
Okay. I thought they did something that I have to give a lot of props to. The multi-man tower spot they did in a really clever way, where they kept when they first like are about to go for it, you're like, oh, okay, yep, let's get this one out of the way, but then it doesn't happen, and then they go for it a second time and it doesn't happen, and they just keep countering until finally it does, and it actually made me like excited to see the tower spot.
Oh no, yeah.
So I thought
it's one of the things that New Japan this era did the best with that. Like, especially we'll see in the main event, they tease the move, they hit the move, and you're just standing there.
Yeah, and they just like they tease and tease and tease, and then they'd hit just like a regular standing suplex, and you pop off like like your team just won the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one thing Elgin did that I don't think I've ever seen anyone do is he did an electric chair drop to Tai Chi, and he bridged it. He bridged an electric chair.
That's just.
I don't think I've seen that.
I've never seen that before. After this, that's actually before I've seen this match before. I haven't seen this after.
Yeah,
it's really one of those moves that like only a guy of like his physique and also height can do, because the bridge that you can't be too tall.
Yeah, it's a move to do that. You have to be specifically Michael Elgin's build.
Pretty much.
I gave it 2 3/4. I thought there were a few high spots, but it was like the lows in between were real low.
Meltzer gave it 3 3/4.
So I'm a star off from Meltzer, but yeah,
I
thought it was okay. Like I thought it was pretty good.
gave it 3. I remember the rose tinted glasses of nostalgia are definitely not clouding my judgment of this show more than I thought it would. Maybe not for these matches.
No disrespect to Tai Chi, but with the amount of time they were given, I feel like a Goto Elgin 1-on-1 would have been a better match.
Oh, it would have.
Because there's just less moving parts.
It really would have, yeah.
But yeah.
To the next match, which I think the time it got, if it was even longer, this is a nicely paced match. If it was longer, I would not be complaining at all.
Yeah, of course. Do you want to say what the match is?
Yeah. It is the Los Ingobernables de Japón, Evil and Sonata. They are the champions. This is for the IWGP Tag Team titles, and they're taking on the Young Bucks.
Yeah, this match was fast paced. It was awesome. I have like no notes on it because I was just locked in. It's one of those, we talk about them all the time. It's one of those matches where you just kind of get focused in on what they were doing, and I just forgot to write down notes for this match.
The main event, I closed my notes tab just to.
The main event I have more than this, but also the main event's so long. There's like more time to write notes. I guess
yeah. I just needed
something like this was just they were just moving so fast.
This is 15 minutes of pure this wrestling that if you want to watch New Japan, this is the match you need to watch. 15 minutes. It's not too long. It's not too short. It is the pinnacle of the era for tag teams.
Also not perfect. There was some improvements, I think, to be made.
Yeah, no.
I gave it 4 stars. I don't think it quite got me emotionally gripped in. But I think it was more about putting belts on Bullet Club.
I really liked this match. I gave it 4 1/4. This is the Young Bucks that I have been yearning to see for years. think I want them so badly to go back to this style.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if we're ever gonna get it because they're older now, but I'll appreciate when we had it for when we had it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great match.
Great match, cage match. This is the first time in this show that it got over an 8 in the ratings for cage match.
Mm-hmm.
This next match did not. This was a 6-man tag team match that when I went back and read it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is a match that happened, and I remember being more excited for this match than it actually was.
Yeah, first of all, just looking at this with a 2024 lens, right?
Excluding one of the guys in the match.
Well, okay, I mean, who are our teams? What are we looking at here?
We got the Bullet Club, Cody, Hangman, and Marty Scurll, and they took on Hiroshi Tanahashi, Jushin Liger, and Rey Mysterio.
Regarding Marty Scurll, see my message about Michael Elgin. But looking at this in 2024 lens, this is the craziest combination of wrestlers.
Oh, it's so...
Cody Rhodes, one of, if not the biggest star in professional wrestling right now, the WWE champion. Hangman Adam Page, one of AEW's top acts, has the biggest babyface run that company has seen, and in my time watching wrestling is with Kofi Mania and the Yes Movement as the 3 biggest babyface runs I've seen. Marty Scurll, rightfully ostracized from wrestling.
Thankfully.
From mainstream wrestling, at least. Rey Mysterio, WWE Hall of Famer. Jushin Thunder Liger, WWE Hall of Famer. Hiroshi Tanahashi, the president of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
And hopefully WWE Hall of Famer, because why not?
Yeah. Crazy.
Just crazy. I thought this match would be so much better when it first happened.
Mm-hmm.
Going back, I felt the same way. This match could have been a lot better.
But Rey balled out.
But Rey did so well that I really wish this was just Liger versus Rey.
Yeah, which is
in like the 90s.
What Kevin Kelly was saying is that was originally supposed to happen, but then Rey had an injury, had to miss it, and then we ended up getting a 6-man. This is one of 2 matches Rey Mysterio has ever had in New Japan.
This 6-man, it's not the singles match, but it's also not that big of a deal. That we lost
of
that.
course, if you haven't seen it, you need to look up Rey's mask, the New Japan version of his mask that he wore out for this show. Potentially his greatest mask of all time. One of my favorites.
It is very good.
Another Don Callis line here is Cody angry because I called him a pansexual narcissist on Twitter? Amazing. Incredible. Don Callis just doing the Lord's work.
Just let him do his thing, you know?
Yeah. I gave this 3 3/4. I thought this was pretty good.
I
thought it could have been better, but it was pretty good.
This should have been a 4-star match just from the
name value.
But
of course, in 2018, the name value.
Not
when it comes to one of the Bullet Club members, but
not as much, I guess, in 2018. But still, I mean, Cody Rhodes, Rey Mysterio in a
Jushin Thunder Liger,
the Ace, Tanahashi. Those 4 are huge in 2018 still.
Well, think about this. Like I said, 2 WWE Hall of Famers on the WWE side.
Probably 3 in the future.
I'm about to say, or on the one side, probably a 3rd with Cody Rhodes. When there is a AEW Hall of Fame, Cody and Hangman will be in that. And if there was a New Japan Hall of Fame, Tanahashi and Liger would both definitely be in that. So just the Hall of Fame level of talent on this show is ridiculous. Or on this match, sorry. Just this match. I mean, the whole show. Also ridiculous.
Speaking of Hall of Fame talent, next match is involve those 2. But Bullet Club defeat Tanahashi, Liger, Mysterio.
Yeah, Crossroads on Liger for the win. So
very solid finish of the match.
But I do have a question. They had Rey. Why wasn't he in this G1? I looked at it. Bad Luck Fale is in this G1.
Yeah, but Bad Luck Fale was kind of like a bigger deal than you would expect.
Okay.
At the time, he was an original member of Bullet Club. He was still he was the underboss. This is like peak Bullet Clubs. Everybody in Bullet Club was popular. You gotta remember that.
All right, let me look at the 2018 G1 climax here. Yoshihashi. Did he have to be in there over Rey Mysterio?
He was also kind of big.
Okay. Tamatanga. Oh, you just said the Bullet Club thing.
Yeah.
Toriano was always in there for some reason.
Because you gotta have the funny Toriano match, yeah.
Gotta have the funny waltz. Okay, I guess. Did Evil and Sonata both have to be in it?
I guess you could say Sonata didn't have to be in it. He definitely wasn't gonna win.
Mm-hmm. But you slot Rey in that. Rey gets 8 points, just doesn't quite make it, but still you get to see a G1 run from Rey Mysterio. I don't know. I guess it's silly to criticize booking of New Japan from 6 years ago. So I guess we could just move on.
And we should, because we have I think these next three matches are just
banger after banger
sit
after banger.
down and enjoy the show.
As Big Shamo would say.
Holy crap. IWGP Junior title match is up first. Will Ospreay, the champion, comes out. He takes on Hiromu Takahashi, who I believe won the Super Juniors this year. Or
I can look at it.
I don't know.
About it.
I don't know if he did or not, but it was definitely somewhere around there. This is the beginning of Takahashi's, I guess, just reign over the junior heavyweights. This is his first title. Or his second. It's one of the two. This is like the year he came back from being from on excursion, from being Kama Itachi.
Takahashi did win this one. He beat Ishimori in the finals.
So this is not the year. I think he came in 2017. But this is right before he breaks his neck and that time period. So he's still just doing crazy stuff in the ring. And Will Ospreay, I mean, at this point in time, was the greatest junior heavyweight to walk the face of the earth.
Yeah.
He still is.
So this was Hiromu from 2018 to 2022. He won 4 Best of Super Juniors in 5 years.
And I think
Will Ospreay won the other one.
The one year he didn't win was the year he was out from a neck injury.
And Will Ospreay won that one.
So these two are just the Super Junior, the Super Juniors.
I mean, my first note on this is junior heavyweight wrestling. This is what the division's about.
Peak, almost, of modern junior heavyweight wrestling. I guess the peak could be Liger versus Benoit back in the 90s, but nowadays this is probably the best you can get.
Again, for Benoit, see my message about Michael Elgin.
There's so many people you can do that with, brother. Yeah, this was a great match. 20 minutes didn't feel like 20 minutes at all.
No, it did not.
It was sensational. Either guy could have won his match, and I would have been happy. Now, at the time, I would not have been really happy if Takahashi lost. Takahashi wins. He wins the title.
Yeah, there was an awesome spot where Ospreay had Hiromu up for the Stormbreaker, and Hiromu hit a code red out of it.
That was
awesome.
So good. Hiromu is just... I was super into Hiromu at this point in time.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him in 2017, the year before this, and being so excited to see him.
Yeah, and also... What about the evolution of Will Ospreay over the past 6 years?
His jump to heavyweight is a year or two after this. I forget when he faces Coda. Is that 21?
I don't remember. I think 21. Yeah, but the transition from this, about a year after this, I think he's never open weight champion, and then just his transition into being IWGP World Champion and the U.S. title stuff with Kenny, he's just a completely different wrestler now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's
in a whole nother stratosphere.
He one too many concussions gave us the greatest wrestler on the face of the earth right now. Just think about that.
Yeah, Christian Cage.
Yeah, obviously, yes.
No, but yeah, Will Ospreay,
when he changed his style because there was too many injuries, he became even better.
Somehow, yeah. So yeah, I give this 4.5 stars.
I agree with you. I gave it 4.5. Meltzer gave it 4 3/4. The match guide gave it a 8.92 on Cage Match, so that's a very high number.
Yeah.
This next match was just as intriguing going into it. Not as good, but just as intriguing. It is Chris Jericho, the Painmaker, the weird makeup. No, is this Alpha Club or Painmaker?
Alpha Club. But he still has the makeup, but it's before I think he's officially come up with the name Painmaker.
So he has the stupid makeup, but this is Alpha Club Chris Jericho. I was very excited over this.
Here's the thing. You got to remember, this is not 2024 Chris Jericho. This is fresh out of Kevin Owens' feud Chris Jericho. This is Chris Jericho still doing incredible work. And so when I first looked at this, just my 2024 brain wasn't as excited. But then when I actually saw Chris Jericho, I was like, oh yeah, he could still go.
Yeah. I was really excited when I see Chris Jericho in New Japan. I'm mad that it was against Naito because even at this point, I was so in for Naito.
Yeah. Few spots I liked. They got some tables involved. There was a table power bomb where the table does not budge, and it looked brutal.
Oh, that was in terms of like New Japan table spots. The two most brutal I can think of are the Alex Coughlin going straight through it but getting stuck in there, and then this one,
Yeah.
just gnarly.
Also, all night, because it comes up in our next match too. These tables were not breaking.
No, they were not. They were just
solid wooden tables.
Boosh.
Also,
Good grief, just the best Japanese tables in the world.
there was a table pile driver that got an 8 out of 10 on the Jayden Ginswire pile driver scale. So, pretty great. It was a pretty great pile driver. My last note is that Naito's face started bleeding in the weirdest places, like right under his eye,
Yeah, it was not normal places.
and
to
then he
bleed.
was bleeding out of his ear.
It was not blade. It was definitely the hard way.
No, it was definitely the hard way.
Because in like MMA, it'll beat you like here and here.
Mm-hmm.
In wrestling, they always do it from the forehead.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to see Jericho do this, like make him bleed in ways that you would never ever see him doing for the past like 25 years.
Yeah, it's kind of like a shedding the WWE, like a Foley. You were no longer watching WWE Chris Jericho kind of moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that was really interesting. The finish was pretty classically Jericho too. He shoved Red Shoes Umino, and then he low blowed Naito and hit a code breaker for the win. I also gave this 4.5.
Yeah, I gave it 4.5 as well.
And I think if you made me choose between this and the junior heavyweight title match, I think I would barely pick this one. But also, if you ask me that tomorrow, I might pick the other one.
I would pick the junior heavyweight. I picked it back then. I pick it now. But still, what a great match from Jericho.
Yeah.
If we could freeze this Chris Jericho and bring him into this AEW, I'd be so happy with Learning Tree.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that would bring us to
The reason I picked this
the
one.
reason you picked this one, even though I'm leading it. One of the best matches of all time. Maybe it could be maybe the best. On Cage Match, I think it's like third best ever. It is rated a 9.77.
That's huge for Cage
I
Match.
think get out of the way just from Meltzer. It got 7 stars.
Okay.
Not even 6. This is the 7-star match.
Yes.
This is 2 out of 3 falls for 65 minutes or something like that. Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada, the last dance between these two for now. I had no notes. I was sucked into it.
Do you know what my main takeaway from this was?
How good these two are? 'Cause
Damn, I miss Kenny Omega.
no,
Like, dude, I want to find whoever diverticulitis is. I want to beat him up. Come on, man. I hate that we don't get to see this guy on TV every week right now. Like, I want Kenny back so
Kenny
bad.
Omega might be the greatest wrestler I've seen in person ever. I mean, we saw Vikingo. I saw him face Yoshihashi. I saw him at Forbidden Door. Just what a wrestler.
Yeah, I think. Let's see. We've seen Danielson wrestle, too. So that he's got to be up there.
For you, it's got to be one of those two. For me, it's one of these two.
Let's see. I've seen.
It's got to be. It's just for me. It's between these two.
Who else is among the best that I've seen? I mean, yeah, Bryan Danielson immediately stands out. CM Punk's towards the top. I don't think he beats either of these guys, but I've seen him live, and he's towards the top. But yeah, I think. I mean, I've seen Cena, but he's not as great in the ring, but he's up there as like an all-timer.
As an entertainer, I could see. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think you're right. I think Kenny Omega or Bryan Danielson have to be the best wrestler I've seen in person.
The fact that this match isn't on Wrestle Kingdom is absurd.
Mm-hmm.
They went all out for this on Dominion, which is a big event, but it's not Wrestle Kingdom. The first fall was not even. It was 28 minutes in.
Yeah, and it was like not a roll up, but it was like Kenny trying to roll up Okada, and Okada just dropping down on him and getting the pin. So kind of a roll up.
It
but
was
yeah.
not a pin you'd expect in this match.
Exactly. It was kind of surprising. I think
It was a shocking,
that was smart.
a shocking, smart way to start out the falls. The next fall was 20 minutes later, and I kind of got the gist that we're gonna see this match kind of be put in like 20-minute segments of sorts.
Mm-hmm. It's about what it was. Yeah.
And
The last one's kind of more like 15, but
it's close enough.
yeah, it was a one-winged angel for the second fall. Between the first and second fall was the Kenny stomp on the table on the guy spot. That table did not.
The table didn't even
at all.
budge. It didn't even move.
Budge. Yeah, that was brutal.
If I'm a wrestler at that point, I might just step out.
Yeah, and you know what my favorite moment in this match was? After the second fall, Okada sold the V trigger for like 10 minutes. Like there was the 2-minute rest period, and he got up and kept wrestling. But if you looked in his eyes, he had this far away stare, like he was still feeling the effects of that one-winged angel for like a full 10 minutes.
And that, I think, is why this is one of the best matches of all time. It's the psychology, because you don't see that in everyday matches.
Yeah, definitely not.
This was, and Kenny pins Kazuchika Okada.
Hit a V trigger one-winged angel combo.
Hit the V trigger one-winged angel. Just put every move in the book. I'm pretty sure he even kicked out a Rainmaker at some point.
Mm-hmm.
It was the words that I have to describe what this match means to me and what this match did to me is I don't have them.
Yeah, I mean it's one of the easiest 5 stars I've ever given.
Just looking back at this match, if we were to allow breaking the scales, this is where I would do it. Mm-hmm. This is.
I mean, do what you want. I don't break my scale, but do what you want.
I don't. If I start breaking the scale, then I go back and look at all the other matches, gave 5 stars too, and that's why the issue with Meltzer doing it was. This is clearly a 5-star match at the minimum.
Yeah,
it's so simply just almost perfect. It's not perfect.
I'd have to rewatch their Wrestle Kingdom match. I think I like that one slightly more. But this was also just such an easy 5-star. Like, they're both right on the same level for me. Like, the kind of matches that if I was going to break the scale, I would break it for these. But, yeah, 5-star for sure.
This was, and also Don Callis yelling hooks the leg after like a 3.5-hour show is incredible commentary work.
Yeah, absolutely. This was when we got to see kind of the character Don Callis commentary. Versus the rest of the night, which was just him being a good color commentator.
What a match as we get on to categories.
Yeah. Best moment.
I think it's got to be Omega winning the title.
Omega winning the title.
I'm gonna bring in the story of that. How they were 1 win apiece in a tie. So this was the definitive match.
I think for best moment, give it to that final V trigger 1-winged angel 1 2 3.
Yeah,
I think that's probably your best moment. The sequence for that. What about heat check?
That's interesting.
Okay, I mean we kind of have to set the rules for this. Was the opening match short enough to give the heat check to Roppongi 3K?
9:29
because they did a lot
depends
in
on
10 minutes.
Is the cutoff 5 or 10?
Them or I don't know. That's the thing because the heat check it's supposed to be someone who didn't get a lot of screen time, but there's not really segments on this show that are shorter.
This is a big Japanese event, so it's gonna be different, I guess. So I would say Roppongi 3K were the heat check of the night.
Yeah, heat check of the night. Okay.
They were the best in that little period, and if we had to go shorter, I would say I'd give it to Jay White. But I would say Roppongi 3K.
Okay. Apex Mountain. Now, this is kind of going to be an interesting Apex Mountain because I'm not going to really have context to add. Right? The only thing I can tell you is this isn't the Apex Mountain for Chris Jericho or Rey Mysterio. Right. I can tell you that.
You tell me that, yeah.
But, so I got to ask you, is this the Apex Mountain for Kenny Omega?
I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah. Apex Mountain for Kenny Omega?
This is his best match.
Yeah. So does that same go for Okada then?
Yes. This is their best match.
Okay.
These two have chemistry like nobody else, and this is their best match.
Yeah, I feel like there's not anybody else. It's probably the Apex Mountain for Michael Elgin for other reasons.
Is this the Apex Mountain for New Japan?
That's what I was about to ask you. Is this the Apex Mountain for New Japan Pro Wrestling?
This is the last big event for New Japan I remember being really into because AEW's announced like what?
1 year after this event, Double or Nothing has already happened.
Yeah.
So we are within the final year before AEW's running shows.
This is going to be controversial, but I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
At least from like a Western standpoint, it definitely is.
Okay.
This Okada is probably his Apex Mountain. So actually, no, yeah, it is. This is Okada's Apex Mountain, and Okada is the ace of the 2010s.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the Apex Mountain for Kenny Omega, Okada, and New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
All right. Recasting. If you were, first of all, what do we have to? We kind of have to recast Okada, Jericho, right? Or Okada, Omega.
I would either that or Naito, Jericho, one of the two.
I think we got to go Okada. Omega.
Yeah, it's too big.
So if we're recasting that with, how do you want to do it? Do you want to do? We're putting Jon Moxley in an hour 2 out of 3 falls match. Who's facing him? Do you want to do kind of like the IWGP title thing, or is it? What's like the best Japanese wrestler in the world right now versus the best gaijin in the world would probably still be Okada Omega.
Let's just run it back.
Just run it back.
Just run it back.
All right, this is our first.
Our recast is just run it back.
Just run it back. Okay, I'm cool with that. For best double feature, I of course had the Wrestle Kingdom 11 Okada Omega. Is there anything else that you think should be in there?
Just in terms of. So I'm gonna.
Of course, double featuring with this Okada match.
I'm gonna plug a Future Classic review.
Okay.
I'm gonna do that. So in mid-July, we're going to be reviewing Noah Navigate for Evolution 2003. In another fantastic, it's about 30 minutes, long match between two legends of Puroresu is on that card, and it's why I picked it. So that's gonna be my double feature. I think if you really like this match and you want to get a deeper dive into Japanese wrestling, you need to watch the 2003 Kenta Kobashi Mitsuharu Misawa match.
Okay.
It's another match that's been regarded as one of the best of all time, and if you like this, you'll probably like that.
All right, what do you want to do next?
Let's do the awards.
Do hot dogs and handshakes?
Hot dogs and handshakes. So this is the best of the show minus the main event.
Yes, because we picked the show for the main event, so we can't pick the main event.
This is tough because
Wasn't tough for me.
This is not really. To me, it's in between the junior heavyweight or the Jericho match, and I think you picked the Jericho match.
I actually went with a Rey Mysterio.
Oh, okay.
I think he stood out in that match, and he did things we don't see from Rey Mysterio anymore and didn't see very often before. I think as far as like standout performance for that wrestler, this was a big standout performance for Rey Mysterio for me. And that's saying something because he's my favorite wrestler of all time. So it might be a little biased too, but he's my favorite wrestler of all time. Fair. So seeing him kind of do that was really awesome.
That's fair. I think.
Also, like, how could I pick between that junior heavyweight title match and that IC title match?
I did.
Okay.
I picked the junior heavyweight match. I think that's outside of the main event the best match on the card, and that's not just me saying that from rose to the nostalgia glasses. This show was just as good as I remember it being almost. The mid to undercard, kind of not really, but I was a lapsed
undercard was a little bit of a drag. I would do have to say.
Lapsed New Japan fan, I guess. So if you told me how I viewed this missed card on like June 10th of 2018, I'd tell you it's the best event I've ever seen in my life. Because it was. That being said, what did you give it?
Out of 10, I've in my mind I've been going back and forth on this. I think I'm gonna land on a 7.5.
Okay. All things considered, when I think of this show having one of the best matches of all time,
like you take those last
you take the last three away, you get like an average WWE show.
Like,
in terms of
let
quality.
me look at this card again. Honestly, the last, I don't know, last 5 matches kind of cook. Before that, it's a little bit of a drag, like I said. Yeah, I think I just got to land on 7.5.
Okay. It was tough. It was not a 10, no matter how much I want to give it a 10. It's not a 10. We haven't given a 10 to any new shows, though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure we will at some point. But I gave this an 8.5.
All right, so it ends up at a 16 overall, which is higher than King of the Ring 98 and TLC 2009, which are both 13s. So I think that's I think that's a pretty solid rating, honestly. It's like
Yeah,
16 out of 20.
it's about, yeah, I think I'd stick it.
And for our next show, in celebration of Forbidden Door, we are going to a time way back when, before that door was forbidden, with WWE, NJPW, AJPW, Wrestling Summit 1990. So do you want to maybe just give a brief preface of what this show is?
It's all Japan at the peak of their powers, almost.
Mm-hmm.
WWE in the peak of the Hogan era,
Mm-hmm.
and New Japan in the peak of the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you couldn't pick a better time frame to really do a show with
These specific,
with these
yeah.
3 companies. You really couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
That includes now too.
Yeah, so that's where we're going next week. I'll let you close it out.
So, if you enjoyed this, listen to our other classic shows. We have the 2 we have out right now are TLC 2009 and
King of the Ring
King of the
98.
Ring 98. 2 shows that were pretty okay.
Mm-hmm.
And as always, as Jayden says, enjoy wrestling.
Enjoy wrestling.